Why is it so quiet? Can you hear me in your headphones, by the way? Okay. That might be why. Is that helping? Odd. How... It sounds quite weird for me as well, actually. Oh, okay. Now I can hear a lot of myself. I don't know why you can't hear you. You're hearing that, right? Yeah, okay, you're getting that, so that's good news. So why can't we hear?
Did I hear myself? No.
That's so weird.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay. Well, the two microphones are working. Yeah, that sounds fine. That's working for you. Okay. Well, it's going out to air, so that's good news.
Find out how you can help the family support you and support Manly United FC.
And ladies and gentlemen, we've got the starting lineups for first grade with kickoff just around the corner. First up for the visiting SD Raiders, in goal number 1, Michael Figuera. Number 5, Jet McHugh-Shaw. Number 7, Mihail Marcic. Number 8, the captain, James Letter. Number 9, Jakov Malbasa. Number 10, Luka Knezovic. Number 12, Lachlan McGrath. Number 17, Marty Fernandez. Number 18, Charlie Ragg. Number 23, Thomas Mako. And number 37, Robert Eramuga. And on the bench, number 11, Thomas Santarossa. Number 15, Matthew Lee. Number 19, Riley Cox-Farlow. Number 22, Jonathan Sabatu. Number 40, William Lucas. Number 47, Ethan Bevan. And number 77, Justin Chan-Trias. The SD Raiders are coached by Koran Luboya. And now, the starting lineup for your Manly United FC, coached by Vladimir Knezovic. Number 4, the captain, Jesse Perez. Number 5, Aaron O'Driscoll. Number 6, Saxon Hilliard. Number 7, Stefan Dorobalad. Number 8, Kakeru Ono. Number 10, Darcy Burgess. Number 17, Samuel Griffiths. Number 19, Kai Evans. Number 29, Douglas John. Number 33, Jasper Chipman. And number 99, the goalkeeper, Mackenzie Siron. And on the bench, number 3, Matthew O'Donoghue. Number 9, Benjamin Coop. Number 12, Mitchell Seaman. Number 15, Max Martinello. Number 16, Will Falder. The reserve goalkeeper, number 21, Harry Turner. And number 24, Toby Bakewell. Kickoff is just around the corner. Manly United FC versus the SD Raiders.
driving to family life and weekend adventures, Brookvale Mazda offers a full Mazda range with an easy and enjoyable car buying experience. Come in and see the team at Brookvale Mazda or visit their website to book your test drive at www.brookvalemazda.com.au.
Please welcome the two teams to the field, Manly United FC and the SD Raiders for round 22 action in the NPL New South Wales Men's.
Well, as Australian football fans look to put a day of disappointment behind them and distract from World Cup woes, we say thank goodness for NPL football. Yes, Socceroos supporters across the country looking for some hope for the future, and perhaps there are no better places in which to look than a venue that has produced so many of Australian football's future stars over the years. Cromer Park, the venue, the Lucas Neal stand, is where you find us for a mid-table matchup in NPL New South Wales round 21 between Manly United and SD Raiders. Two teams looking to return to winning ways this weekend after a 3-3 thriller at Wonderland for the host last weekend and a midweek defeat for the visiting SD Raiders against the other side of the A-League Academy divide in Sydney FC. Just the 9 rounds remaining in season 2026, and both sides tonight united in a quest for 3 points that serves a bit of a dual purpose. If they get them, well then at best the flickering finals dream remains alive. On the other side of the equation, they are looking to keep a distance from the likes of cellar dwellers Sydney Olympic and Blacktown City, both recently and in quite spectacular fashion rejuvenated by the mid-season transfer window. For the hosts as well, there is the added carrot of a measure of revenge from the reverse fixture, where SD Raiders were comprehensive winners back in round 7 at Ernie Smith, the last of a 6-game winless stretch for Vlado Knezovic in the early knockings of the season. Now for Goran Luboja, he is wanting to keep the relatively solid recent form they've had alive despite the defeats in midweek, just their second in the last 6 games. And another 3 points today for the NPL newcomers keeps the faint dream of making a headline-raising post-season push well and truly in their sights. A couple of big changes for either sides as we have a look at the lineups. The big one for the visiting SD Raiders is in goal. Michael Figuera returns to the starting spot where he was deputising for William Lucas in midweek. And for Manly United, one big addition to the starting 11 sees young Douglas John, one of the many youth talents here at Manly, in for just a second NPL New South Wales start. 3 valuable points with a little over 2 months remaining in the season in the setting sun at Cromer Park. Lots to like to round out what has otherwise been a disappointing day of football in Australia. He is hoping that this game can end things on a high. Lockie Flanagan in the resplendent commentary box here at Cromer Park with you, and it's, well, a delight for me to be joined by a man who's wearing many hats here tonight. It may be an NPL New South Wales first dual ground announcing and co-commentary role. A big hello to the main man at Cromer Park, Alex Molchanoff.
I'm sure it's not the first time it's been done, Lockie, but delighted to be along with you. You're right, it's palatial for us broadcasters here at Manly United. No better ground around the competition to come and watch football, I don't think. And as you said in the intro, 2 teams with plenty to play for tonight, and perhaps just the carrot of dragging themselves right out of danger as much as anything. But 2 teams that like to attack and get forward, and that should lend itself to entertaining fare.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. As the Raiders will be looking to pick themselves back up from a bit of a painstaking and frustrating midweek defeat to Sydney FC. A game where they did have a couple of first half chances, but largely failed to fire when the Sky Blues were able to find the second half gears that Goran Luboya's side could not match. Looking to take an early spell of possession, although rather undone by the attempted long ball of Aaron O'Driscoll.
It's been interesting. The start to this game, SD Raiders getting their foot on the ball, playing with possession. This is what Goran Luboya wants out of them. It's what Vlado Knežević has been trying to get out of his Manly United team recently as well, Lockie, with mixed results, although I'd say it's been slowly improving as the season's gone on. 2 young teams that we're seeing tonight as well, which means that as much as we're excited, there are also some slip-ups coming from both as well. I think we can expect to see that too.
That is the... you take the good with the bad in NPL football, but he's hoping it provides for entertainment. The goals have been a little bit tricky to come by this season at Cromer Park, Mulch. Just the 20 scored across all games we've seen here, not just for Manly, but all teams. Manly have only scored 13 at home. They've only conceded 7. They're not numbers that lend themselves for a thrilling attacking fare, but the way these 2 teams put themselves about maybe potentially bucks that trend this evening.
And you build the foundation from the ground up, right? I think that's what Coach Knežević has come in and tried to do. That's not to say he doesn't want his team playing enterprising football, but takes longer to learn how to create than it does to destroy, and some experienced players in there that he had access to. Aaron O'Driscoll, of course. Be interesting tonight seeing them play without the ball as much as they might like. That has actually suited them in games at different times.
Fernandez trying to break into open space to get a shot away. Not a player who's shy of it in this SD Raiders side, their top scorer. Knežević goes to the ground, but Goran Luboya's men keeping the magnets moving for now. Let up. Captain trying to maraud forward to make an opening. Nothing quite materialised. Mentioned the lineup changes for both sides. Thomas Mako, another big introduction or reintroduction for Goran Luboya this evening. Unavailable in that midweek fixture. It's a lovely little turn. Nice move this from SD. Oh, really good football, but headed off at the pass by the street smart, shall we say, Mulch of Aaron O'Driscoll there. Just put his body in the right place at the right time.
Well, that's part of the job of a defender, isn't it, Locke? To ensure that attackers can't get quite where they want to. Did a beautiful job of that. It's been the basis for that good defensive record you talked about this season. Aaron O'Driscoll, he and Jesse Perez, who combined down that right-hand side. There's been a little bit more movement for Manly on the left, but Jasper Chipman's filling that spot nicely, back from concussion a few weeks ago. Some young, impressive players in front of them that are just finding their way into first grade.
Perez, one to watch for those of you tuning in at home tonight. Back-to-back games with goals for the fullback, which is not particularly a regular occurrence, Mulch, for Jesse Perez. He'd gone quite some time without one, and a bit like London buses, two have come at once.
Well, I think I described his first as a scrapbook goal, but it'll become a very packed one if he continues at the rate he's been at over the last couple of weeks.
It's a bit of a loose pass, just places a bit of pressure on the SD Raiders defence, but not enough to force a turnover for Manly. Nice little lay down from Malbasha for Fernandez, who can hit these, and did, and nearly caught Seron out with something special.
And if you're going to afford that much space to Marty Fernandez over the course of 90 minutes, he is going to hurt you sooner rather than later. Player of such brilliant talent, getting a consistent run in a first-grade side, really for the first time in his career. He's been around for such a long time, Locke, but obviously brought to the club to start and create, as he has done for a lot of this season. Just get a glimpse of his talent there. Cannot be left alone for too long by that Manly midfield.
Starts and create. He certainly has done 7 goals and 2 assists since making the switch from Blacktown at the start of the year. One of those signings who have helped the NPL newcomers to buck their fair share of pre-season expectations.
It's funny, I talked about Manly building from the back. SD Raiders seemed to do it the other way. They were scoring goals from their first game in the competition, really, and then the defensive solidity has sort of come over the start of the second half of the year. And, you know, Goran Luboy has got to take a lot of credit for that as well. I'd say it's almost the more difficult way to build the ship, and he's done it very well.
Something nice brewing here for SD Raiders. Lovely delivery in from Eramugo. And Rag will get a toe to it, but not one that provides any more attacking promise for the visiting Raiders. But that was some slick stuff from the likes of Fernandez, Eramugo and Malbasha, who played that nice little drop-down pass to the winger.
And I think the encouraging thing for Goran Luboy for the start of this game is the fact that he's now generated chances. What have we played? 7.5 minutes, not even that. From the right-hand side through the middle with Fernandez firing over, and now Robert Eramugo getting on the ball as well down the left. That is very encouraging and very worrying from a Manly United perspective.
A chance for Manly to offer something in the other end through Evans, and now Darcy Burgess has got the ball, rides the challenge nicely. A decent run being made by Griffiths. The cross is over him. Oh no. Clever little pass to the top of the penalty area. Manly more patient in their approach. Now they up the ante. Perez fires it into the box and flashes it past the face.
Has he got a taste for goal, Locke?
I was going to say cross shots.
I think that was more of a cross than a shot, but I tell you what, welcome back to first grade football, Michael Figuera, who's had his iffy moments over the course of the season. He's put in some sterling performances as well. But that is the sort of awkward ball a keeper does not want to deal with in the opening, 10 minutes of his first game back after a couple of weeks out.
It's high ceiling, low floor, then that was certainly closer to the ceiling. Corner coming for Manly. Decent ball in as well. The heads rose. It's bouncing in the penalty area. Driscoll manages to do enough to keep it as a possession for the hosts. A well-ridden challenge by the starter tonight in Douglas John to Robillard. Gets the head down, pings the ball inside. O'Driscoll lurking. Perez has turned the ball in. Well, the referee had signalled for the play to be drawn dead before any of that could actually count for anything.
Quite rightly as well. O'Driscoll striking him on the arm. It's one of those bizarre rules they brought in over the last couple of years, that striking the arm, and probably fairly enough, but difference in interpretation for an attacking side versus a defensive one. So because O'Driscoll's in his attacking 18-yard box, he gets blown for that, whereas if he was a defender, he probably wouldn't.
Manly have been able to pick off a profligate pass, but no sooner if they picked one off, do they offer one back to SD Raiders. Curious opening 10 here at Cromer Park. Both sides have had little spells, promises of threat. Nothing clear cut as yet. Oh no. Saxon Hillier back to Jasper Chipman. It was enjoyable for those of Manly persuasion to see his youth team links passing between one another in senior level. Driscoll heads back for Mackenzie Siron. The Raiders' shape is holding firm for now.
This is where Manly have been getting stuck a little bit over this season in its entirety. Like is when they do get their foot on the ball and they want to be going forwards, they can get caught not wanting to engage too deep with their opposition and then just banging balls over the top like that. Griffiths has got the running power to get there, but I'm not sure that's exactly how Vlado Knezovic wants to craft attacks.
It's a bit of a get out of jailer from O'Driscoll, but get them out of jail it did. A corner on the way. Credit the endeavour of Sam Griffiths leading the line as well. As James Leder decided for the safety first option for SD of conceding the corner. Is it safety for now rather than safety first? We will find out. Delivery is decent to the back post. Chipman connects, but it's a simple save. Far more simpler than the previous for Michael Figuera.
And Manly looking to direct those corners towards the back post. SD Raiders have looked pretty solid behind them. It's been an Achilles heel at different times this season, but they, as we've mentioned, along with all their defending, really, over the past month or so, it's come together a little more solidly. Be interesting to see how they bounce back, because to play a lot of that game with the ball against Sydney FC, who've shown themselves a stout defensive unit over the last week.
There's a well-intentioned pass from Charlie Ragg, the one of Yakov Malbasha, just thwarted.
But to pick up on that point, they're not often being kept scoreless over the course of the year. So, test bigger pitch, a little bit more space to move with it. I think this game's going to have goals in it, Lockie. Both teams have been really enterprising with their play on the football early.
Oh, that was quality from de Robillard. He's got Darcy Burgess making the run in support. That's where it heads. In the ball goes. And it's SD Raiders who emerge with it through Marcic. Oh, we've seen plenty of pretty passing so far. That is rather no nonsense. About as no nonsense as it can get.
Well, you've got to mix in a bit of everything, don't you? That's what a good football match has.
Well, what is NPL if not a footballing equivalent of Russian roulette? You don't quite know what you're going to get with every spin.
Forget every spin. How about minute to minute? Change on a dime. Good crowd in here again tonight, Lockie, as well. They've been changing some of these kick-off times at Cromer, but it doesn't matter how the football side are going. There's healthy crowds in around the Lucas Neal stand and at the far post again tonight. It's part of a good football viewing experience. Brings people out as much as good football at times.
It is a traditional Saturday, usually feasts are on Sunday or the Sunday roast, but it's a Saturday feast of football here. You get the local games, the youth sides, and then the 20s playing after this, I believe, Mark?
Correct. Doing that so that any players that are kept out and kept in reserve for this first grade side don't get on, they can make the adjustment, Manly, to play them in the 20s. It's been a concerted effort from the club to try and switch to this fixture time more often.
Evans sizes up the penalty area. Does Kai Evans, cuts inside and fires and watches it all the way. Does Michael Figuera. Nice bit of Keenness to take the attacking mantle, though, from young Kai Evans. Fernandez. Raiders looking to offer something back of their own. It's been a little quiet in the attacking sense in the last couple of minutes.
And it's interesting, although SD Raiders have had a touch more possession and have probably created the clearest chance of the game, it's Figueroa who's been the busier goalkeeper. So Manly looking, I'd say, slightly more likely, but that's not without travelling SD Raiders offering a threat of their own.
Mako. Rag was busy on the wing against Sydney FC. Finds Knezovic inside, who's a player that we've not seen too much of so far this evening, which is rare that you say that. Rag trying to seize upon that slightly loose lay down from Stefan de Robillard.
Interesting little battle developing down this wing as well, like with Charlie Rag getting so far forward, it's actually pulling Stefan de Robillard back, and know for a fact Kikeru Ono's exploits up forward mean he wants to be doing the same to SD Raiders.
That was a loose one from SD Raiders. Griffiths leading the charge, but in there at the nick of time was Jet McHugh-Shaw. A couple of those slightly clumsy moments in build-up play for SD Raiders in the early knockings. And the United as well, we should mention, operating this evening without the midfield talents of Luke Neuenhoff, which is quite the loss given he's scored in back-to-back games in the lead up to this one, both he and Jesse Perez.
It's their jack of all trades, has been this season. Look, utilised at the back when they've needed him there, but Vlado Knezovic loves to play him in those midfield positions because he's got that goal-scoring threat. He carries that. Fantastic progressor of the football. They will miss him tonight, but Douglas John has come in, and this is his first grade start, if I'm not mistaken. Hasn't looked out of place in the minutes he has played so far this season for Vlado Knezovic. Won the best junior at the football club a year ago. Follows Saxon Hillier and Jasper Chipman in doing that. Trio anchoring them at the back alongside O'Driscoll tonight.
If you want to be playing consistent NPL minutes, that's pretty good company to be in. Make his debut a handful of weeks ago. I think he had a front row seat mulch against Sydney United.
It's been another accusation levelled at them that they've played up or down to the level of their opposition. Got a draw against Apia here very early in the season as well. Can be pushed onto the back foot by teams taking the initiative against them. I think this game is very winnable for Southern Districts Raiders with the talent they've got, like this guy on the ball right now, Robbie Aramuga.
That time, Robbie Aramugo decides against, showing us the scale of his talents. The Raiders keen on a consistent spell with the football. This is more like it. Really good stuff. Mako strides through and feeds the run of Rag with numbers waiting in the middle, and none of them found, but it was close.
Well, two of the players we've already mentioned tonight, Locke, combined in there. Mako, if you want to know exactly why they were so keen to have him back in the sides, look at the way he turned and progressed the ball there. It was brilliant. And feeds Rag, who's been such a threat down this right-hand side, just a yard or so away. And any touch whatsoever would have provided a big test for Mackenzie Cyril there, but now a chance going the other way.
That was an awkward clearance out of defence, but it's been made to work nearly by Manly. Stephen de Robillard just not quite able to activate that release ball. Mihajlo Marcic now. Driving to the byline. Comes a little more. Decent atonement there from Stefan de Robillard.
Indeed. I've seen those couple of players get forward. Marcic has scored some brilliant goals over the past couple of seasons, not least the one that got them over Central Coast Mariners in the playoff tie last year. Marty Fernandez capable of one from range, so is Marcic.
Oh, that is class from de Robillard. Turning the favour back to Ono. Drills it in low. Burgess was the runner. Eramugo was wise to the danger and launches away.
We've seen the full spectrum of Stefan de Robillard right there. Turnover in his own half, good defensive effort, and then he has looked a more confident footballer this year when he's been striding forward. Got the equaliser in that game. You mentioned Locke against Sydney United a couple of weeks ago. He's been happy to run at defenders, and I think Vlado Knežević wants that from him. He's always crafty around the edge of the box as well. Locke not quite falling his way that time.
A bit of a frustrating season for him last year at Sydney United. In and out of the side. Impacted by injuries, has definitely been the beneficiary of a far more consistent run. Capped off, perhaps headlined by that Remember Me goal that you just mentioned, Mulch, a couple of weeks ago against his former employers.
Happens so often, doesn't it?
Well, Basha afforded too much of the football to Manly. Darcy Burgess. Here is de Robillard. Hillier. Nice exchange. And Evans comes in to break up the party. Perez. Early delivery. The Raiders had to stoop to deal with the danger, but deal with it they did. Hillier turning towards the box with intent. Evans stood up nicely by SD Raiders, who have got numbers and runners to work with here. Now, was Malbasha offside or onside? It's irrelevant. The ball was out of play for a throw.
It's just a call from Marty Fernandez there about a minute ago that heard through our effects mics, telling his team to wake up. It's just a period of sloppiness that's crept into SD Raiders play, and that's been a feature of their season as well. They've put together these 15-minute periods where they look like they can take it to anyone in the competition, and then the intensity just drops a little bit. Getting that concentration throughout long periods, maintaining pressure on your opposition. I look right back at the races here, led by Fernandez.
The frustration has been that often this season, those moments of sloppiness have cost them dearly. As easy on the eye as they have looked at points in attack. As you mentioned, two teams who have built in very different ways this season. Has hampered them in the opposite direction. Only Blacktown and Sydney Olympic have conceded more than the boys from Ernie Smith this year, who will get themselves a little set piece just past the halfway line.
Ever a reliable ladder. Playing against a striker vastly younger, but still playing with a little bit more size, and he's just crafty enough to get in front of him, win the individual duel, and then go from there. Such a good player.
Free kick coming for SD Raiders. Pretty soon we're going to be getting live updates from another big game across NPL New South Wales tonight. But first, the small matter of this free kick, which is high and comfortable for Mackenzie Siron. Smith has returned from a long layoff in recent weeks, the keeper.
Looked a really innocuous injury when it happened as well, like 10 weeks out for Macca. Manly are very happy to have him back. Provides a presence they don't have without him. He's able to claim those balls in the air with his height and size. Very good shot stopper as well. Spent some time down in Victoria in the intervening years between his time at St George City and coming back up to Sydney.
He's one of those players who has been happy to bounce around the clubs in search of football. Avondale and Preston down in Victoria. Found a nice home here at Cromer Park. De Robillard. Didn't quite show us the best of his mercurial talents on that occasion. Put forward by Ono. McGrath put it up the line to Marcic, who didn't really have to do much to win the free kick, just sort of stood there and had himself barged through.
That's one way to do it.
Sometimes defenders don't need all that much invitation.
We've seen that at the World Cup over the course of the last couple of weeks, haven't we? Like clattering into one another.
Oh, well, let's not talk about that after
No,
this.
yeah,
After
a
this
very good
morning, that
point.
maybe cuts a bit
A
too
very
close
good
to the bone. It's been a game that is yet to deliver us goals, but it's had enough entertainment to take the mind off things where the Socceroos are concerned, that's for sure. No breakthrough, but bursts of promise to be sure. Passing burst nearly in the offing for the United that time, but the ball has come off their legs last. Mulchi, that other fixture that is now officially running concurrently to ours, a very tasty one indeed. The Sutherland Sharks hosting Apia Leichhardt.
Two teams, well, actually going in opposite directions. Apia have struggled for form over the last couple of weeks. The Sutherland Sharks suddenly looking to qualify for the Australian Championship after a slow start to the year, but they promised us it would take time, and it has. It seems to be coming together now, and not before they've had time to sort of pull themselves back into finals contention and indeed Australia Championship contention, I should say.
Perkovic has certainly caught the champions at the right time, not least with they've got a very deep squad, but they do still have to back up from midweek Waratah Cup action where they were defeated by Sydney United. Of course they were. It was a Waratah Cup final. Sydney United tend to win those.
That's right. It's 5 and 10 now.
Ridiculous. So Robillard has managed to keep a hold of the ball in a situation where he really ought not to have under the weight of odds, and then pass the ball straight into his teammate, Darcy Burgess, who knew nothing about it. Hasn't always been good tonight from Stefan Robillard. Sometimes it has, but it has been entertaining. That won't be another chance for him to show us what he can do. Back to Letta. Marcic has got himself into a bit of hot water here. Rag got it too hot as well. Oh no. It's a tantalising cutback, but there is not a willing customer. It's a firm challenge. Manly win the ball back. Griffiths feeds it across. Evans cuts back inside and strikes the crossbar. And that is now as close as we have come at Cromer.
Look at the desperation there from Douglas John. Keeps the attack alive, and it's two of the youngsters combining. Evans manages to create a yard for himself. And again, Figueres forced into a very clever save, Lockie. Managing to get his fingertips to that and just, with the help of the crossbar, ensure it didn't enter the back of the net.
For a player who is, I believe, yet to score a senior NPL goal, Kai Evans has shown some real impetus this evening. John's corner. Back to him. Take two. Up and under and flicked. And can't be kept alive in the end by Chipman.
That's where Figueres got to be so careful. He's not the biggest goalkeeper in the world. When he does come for those balls, he's keen to come out, which is good. You want your keeper to be positive, but you've got to make sure that you're making some sort of connection with that. Any flick that was within the region of being on target probably finds the back of the net there. Bit of a let-off for SD Raiders. Clear chance of peace now, though, Lockie.
As this game has gone on, home side are the team who have found more of the traffic heading in their direction. Should be mentioned that despite their pretty solid recent form, the Raiders are currently missing a couple of fairly important first teamers as well, which is never what you want with midweek action. Manly able to win the ball back, won't reach to Robillard, headed away the Raiders rear guard. Mako. Letta passes by the pressure and does so wonderfully. Marcic turns. Plenty of room to roam. Options available. Michal Marcic. You are hopeful that we would get something akin to that aforementioned promotion relegation playoff goal against the Mariners. Not quite this time around from SD Raiders number 7.
I think you could tell that was his less favoured foot. He went to turn on that. Confidence to have the strike from distance, which I'm sure Raboya and his coaching staff will be happy with. But again, finding that pocket of space between defence and midfield. Fernandez found it a little earlier. Marcic starting in field to do it. And SD Raiders have just got the bit between their teeth in the last couple of minutes. Got to be careful they're not caught in counter-attack.
Let's try to avoid cross-code references at the best of times, but there's a...
Don't give yourself away here, Lockie.
No, it's not one of those. A bit of basketball about this at the moment. There's a bit of end-to-end action going on. Two teams who are very keen when the space presents to get it up the opposite end as quickly as humanly possible. There's a chance perhaps for a bit of order for SD Raiders. Or not. Burgess rewards the run of Evans. Griffiths now looking to find an angle of opportunity and scraps hard to try and keep it a Manly ball. Try as he might. It's not going to happen. Lockie McGrath is rewarded for his dogged determination with a pressure-relieving free kick.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lockie McGrath, talking about some of the SD Raiders players that have improved this season, he's right up there in terms of... We had a couple of seasons at Northern Tigers where he's struggling to get in the first team in the second division, and he's been a mainstay after some early struggles, I think it's fair to say. Goran Laboya kept the faith with him, and now he seems to be one of their best performers week in, week out. Shows what good coaching can do, even for players in the mid-20s. He's not a youngster, Lockie.
Sometimes the right coach, the right system, it can make a world of difference. And to be fair to Lockie McGrath, it's not as though early season underperformance was unique to him. It was the story of SD Raiders' start to the season. Took them 7 weeks, I think, to taste victory for the first time in the top flight. Similarly slow starts for these two to commence the year. Marcic. The Raiders going to chance their arm on the opposite flank. Early ball. Malbasha not able to bring it down. Inside to Douglas John. O'Driscoll, Eramugo applying the pressure. And the pressure eventually or nearly pays. A really risky stuff from Manly. Siron lumps it away, and anywhere was going to do for the Manly keeper.
Now, I know Vlado Knežević is keen for his team to play out. That was taking it to the extreme, and I glanced down at him, and he's at the edge of his technical area, letting all sorts of words fly.
I think it's play out from the opposition, not play in the opposition is the operative term. Marcic. Well, he showed a bit too much of the ball to his Manly markers and was forced into a bit of a pressured stab. Manly have had the bulk of the last 20 their way. There have been moments from SD to make them nervous. Maybe another about to present itself here. Knežević. Well read by Chipman. Really nice work for the Manly youngster. Opportunity beckons for the young guns. Burgess still going and tried to just thread the needle for Chipman, who continued his run, but it wasn't quite to be.
It's where they want to see Darcy Burgess more often. He's had periods like this in games this season where he just drifts out, and Manly need him on the ball because he's got such creative instincts. He's able to see things before they happen. There's a yard off finding the slide rule pass there for Sammy Griffiths. And who knows what happens there if he's able to put him in behind him one-on-one with the SD Raiders goalkeeper. Honestly, Lockie, I couldn't tell you which way this game's going at the moment. Both teams creating enough both teams looking loose at different times at the back. I'm genuinely surprised we haven't had a goal yet.
It's a hard one to make heads or tails of, though that is, in this case, not necessarily a bad thing. I remember talking to you, Mulch, after the opening game of the season against St George City here at Cromer for Manly United, which they won against a team who were at the time somewhat highly touted in pre-season St George City, and Darcy Burgess was looking like he could be a dark horse sort of player this season. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to channel that consistently after a solid opening couple of weeks of the campaign.
This is an interesting challenge for him now, personally, as someone who is one of the senior players in this team. That's the first time he's had that label in his career. Can you carry a team? Can you take the responsibility and be the one who's asking for the ball consistently in areas where you can make an impact? And can you recover when there is a little mistake or something that doesn't go your way? And continue to ask questions of the defence. I just say, Darcy, there has been games where he's done it, but this is the sort of night where you want him to stand up and take ownership of this team, like Stefan de Robelard's done at different times, like even Saxon Hillier has done behind him.
It sounds incredible to say, but he is the old head in this Manly 11 at the... Well, if he's old, this makes me very worried. 28. He's the most senior figure in terms of laps and the sun in this Manly side. Knezovic. Nice enterprise on that pass, but equaled by the defensive awareness of O'Driscoll. McGrath turns away from trouble. Rag sets his sights towards the penalty area. Marcic up in the corner. Manly have squeezed the space that SD previously had available, and it's going to force them all the way back to the goalkeeper. Ramugo. Perez, who did go down earlier a bit gingerly, has returned to his feet and swiftly swept back off them. And the backtracking Lockie McGrath.
Goran Luboya down below us. As you said, that ball comes out of their attacking right flank all the way back to the goalkeeper in the space of about 3 passes. He wants that ball whipped in. He's got some big bodies in there. Malbassa is no shrinking violet. He can go and attack a football. And Marty Fernandez will be happy to be a second-man runner. Get those crossing opportunities. It's not a bad idea to swing one in every now and then.
Nice driving run through the centre by Kai Evans. One without end products. Eramugo. Fleet-footed. Malbasha. Football back to Mako, but one that he made work very nicely. Former Sydney United midfielder. Rag. You could see the intent, but away from the intention of finding the feet of Jakov Malbasha. Minutes left to go in the first half here at Cromer. Still goalless between Manly United and SD Raiders. Hasn't been for a lack of intent, however. Here's a chance though. Marcic can only steer his efforts into the gloves of Mackenzie Siron, and by and large, apart from a couple of shots that have required superb saves from Michael Figuera, that has sort of been the story so far.
Well, it's one of the few times SD have really looked to press and attack Manly as they've been playing out. Might be something they go back to.
Knezovic picks the gap for Eramugo, who just couldn't bring the ball under his spell, and the lash against the post says it all.
That's got to be a forward pass from Evans. They may well work their way out of this, Manly, but it stings out of the attack. McGrath's obviously worried enough to bring Burgess down, but that's the pass I think
Manly I'd like to see going forward, that some of the decision making from the young players in those sort of transition moments occasionally puts them into places where actually become more likely to lose the ball, and more than lose this thing out of the attack, actually invite the press of the opposition. Evans did there.
It's a good balance of risk and reward for these young players. The risk of making a mistake in NPL football as a youngster, if you do it in the wrong context, under the wrong coach, it can be very costly. We do see a fair share of unfortunate tales of one-and-done young players who pop up for a couple of games, do something they weren't meant to, and then sort of disappeared from first-team football.
Manly's one of those clubs you want to be a young player coming through. You say the
Well,
same
they're
with
the
Raiders at the
exception
moment.
to
Yeah,
that- to
exactly.
that rule,
Well,
yes.
you say the same with Raiders this season as well. Through some of the youngsters. It's a team that's been built smartly as well. Neither of these teams particularly active in the transfer window over the course of the week. Some of the big signings we have seen, across the competition. It's hard to imagine some of these names dropping to play at this level even 5 years ago, I reckon.
It's been utterly remarkable, and that is why this is an important game for the likes of SD Raiders and Manly, because when Blacktown are signing the likes of Alu Kwol, Sasha Kasevsky, they will get better. We're first looking to make something interesting out of that one. Not quite able to do so. Sydney Olympic, Panos Armanakis coming in. Philip Curto in goal.
Head down a division and have a look at one of the clubs down there as well. Ridiculous stuff.
Even some of the A-League names are one thing, even some of the returning NPL names.
That's right.
James Temilkolsky to Rockdale is quite
Hero of a grand final 2 years ago.
Not that long ago, he was quite the thorn in the side of Illingdon, if memory serves. Mako has both ridden that challenge nicely and smartly enough to win a free kick, very quickly taken. And the ball very swiftly moved in the direction of the live wire. Robert Eramugo. Second crack for Eramugo. Took a touch. Corner coming for SD Raiders. They haven't had one so far this evening.
Those are the sort of moments he made his name on a year ago. Down a division. Able to get at a defence that's not set, that's pushed numbers forward. And a really good piece of distribution from Figueira to find him all the way downfield. Pires had pushed forward. There was space to attack. They still might get an opportunity from this set piece.
The goal ruled out for offside against Sydney FC. A very good one as well, Robbie Eramugo. Looking to make up for the lost time. Big up and under. From the cue short. Headed away by Manly and falls to the feet of Stefan de Robillard. It's the player they would usually want to have the ball in those attacking breaks, but not that time.
Getting a little too tricky. Couldn't get his feet sorted out. I was going to say to you about a minute or so ago that Sting's just gone out of this first half a little bit, hasn't it, Lockie? But certainly not been the case in the past 90 seconds or so.
So you think you know what's happening. Teams in this competition have a tendency to make tears in the script, late rewrites. Lord knows this venue has seen plenty of late rewrites over the years, and quite a number of them called by yourself, Mosh.
Yeah. We're used to things heating up over the second 45 minutes. This one's been hot enough as it's been over the opening stanza. So looking forward to seeing with sort of the handbrake off a little bit during the second half. Not that it's been wrenched up, but perhaps just the pedal used to slow things at the end of this first half.
Goes nicely. In the second half that will be swiftly approaching on the other side of the incoming break. It's time enough for one of these two sides to change that ledger before heading to the sheds at Cromer. Basha Rose didn't retrieve. Burgess's flick forward was a hopeful one. Shaw heads for the safety of Figueira. A good position in which to receive the ball from Shaw, and Marty Fernandez has done very well to spare any potential blushes. Minutes added on to the opening half's action at Cromer. They have hemmed their opponents into a space where a turnover could be costly, but it's SD who come away with the football. The switch is on for Rag. Green shirts left and right. Charlie Rag might look to do it all himself. Instead, he feeds the run of Knezovic. It's a tasty ball into the box, but Manly have the answers.
Really good end to the first half here by SD Raiders. Let's see if they can find something. Last bite of the cherry.
Rag, a bit of a worm burner. It drops nicely from Marty Fernandez, who was perhaps surprised to see the ball fall at his feet and completely misfired, did SD's top scorer.
To say he snatched at that opportunity would be an understatement. Completely lost his head after a really sweet first touch. Perhaps that's the part of the game that comes most naturally to Marty Fernandez, but he would have expected a lot better there.
Well, a big flashpoint on which to end an entertaining opening 45 here at Cromer Park. But as things stand, as the two teams head to the sheds, we are no closer to finding a potential returnee to the winner's circle. Manly have gone close through Kai Evans off the crossbar. As the Raiders have had intense but have been mostly limited to half chances. And it all amounts to a game that has plenty to play for on the other side of the break. Half-time at Cromer Park. The score, Manly United 0, SD Raiders 0.
Here's Ferreira's got to be careful as he takes on Wells. Now Negro looking for the run of Fowler. Fresh legs off the bench here. Fowler, and he scores! End to end in the blink of an eye, and Sydney FC take the lead.
Siren takes the referee's count down to 4. Abdul Rahman Awan Lawal has opened the scoring here. Split wall now. It's going to go into the middle. Manly have equalised. Jesse Perez. Crossing it into the middle. Tapped home by Luke Ewenhoff. And Manly have the lead. Griffiths goes to the Rover line. Down to the box. Griffiths puts it home. And Samuel Griffiths. Through ball for Awan Lawal. Has to take it away from the box. Cross into Pavlovic. Cross. Brought down. Shot. Goal for Manly. For the Western Sydney Wanderers, sorry. As Lachlan Satut. Pavlovic. His pass. Awan Lawal has found an equaliser for the Wanderers.
They're backing off here at the University of New South Wales, and now Perez makes the run into space beautifully. Perez. Wood is there with him. Perez is going to get there first. Tries in the cross now. Chance for a goal! Goal! Richard Shawecki with the goal. choose from. Drives it in low, flicks in, and in there! A terrific header at the near post. A great cross coming in from here. He's going to switch it for Jordi Perez. Perez shouting for the shot. Goal! Goal to Jordi Perez! Not quite on the ball in the last few weeks now. Tarek Maya from halfway! Goal!
By the millimetre. Flicking it around, Mako. Goes to the back stick. Great touch and an even better finish. And there's the opener for St. George City. Buries it. Sends Jack Kenny the wrong way, and that is a brilliantly taken penalty. Slipped, but managed to get a foot away to it. And it's in! All the way from the sideline. Santaressa goes direct, and it's dribbled in! There's two men that are claiming it. But regardless, it's a third goal for SD Raiders.
Kobayashi. Fizzed in, chance! And it's gone over the line. It's Shoki Yoshida who got the last touch. Trying to find Yoshida, the running behind, sliding through, and it's gone in the back of the net.
Bugaria takes it at the near post. Armanakis. He finds the shot! That is brilliant! Clear the defensive third though. Casella twists it back in. Aquien with a header again. And now through traffic. The equaliser comes for St. George. And it's Mark Roberts. Here comes the free kick. Armanakis whips it into the box. And the header is in! Bailey Callahan comes up.
He's never one to lead the process himself. He generally lets his football do the talking, and he's done beautifully to slide past Tanaka. The ball's good, and Armson's open the scoring. Yes, stands and clears. Falls to Armson. Daniel. That's a good ball. Sekenes must finish and does now. Took a couple of plays.
Will deliver their in-swinger once more. Great area. Griffiths gets there. And Griffiths buries it into the bottom corner. There comes in. Rockdale get the advantage though as Moody Najjar drives into the box. Najjar! Moody Najjar puts it away, and Rockdale double their lead at Lambert Park.
The 3 points remain up for grabs between the hosts and the visiting SD Raiders. A game that remains, as it started at kickoff, goalless, but there has been plenty to suggest that that could change, particularly with the added openness and impetus that a second half tends to bring. Which team, though, is going to be the one that reaches out and takes the bull by the horns? It's a fascinating 45 that awaits at Cromer. Lockie Flanagan with you, with the main man from Cromer Park in Alex Molchanoff, who waits to bring in for a second. It's a great cross into the middle. Aramugo had a pop. Marty Fernandez blazes over, and as I welcome the main man from Cromer Park, Alex Molchanoff, back in for the second half. A game that has promised to deliver an opening goal, has delivered us a little bit more in the opening few seconds of the second stanza.
Well, it's a second chance that Marty Fernandez has had to open the scoring here. It's a couple of times he's got between the lines, fired in a shot from distance. He's playing well. We just need to find him a little more regularly from an SD Raiders perspective. Interesting, no changes at halftime either, Lock. Both coaches happy enough, but I'm sure searching for improvement out of their sides in this second half as well.
It's a weird first half in some senses, Mulch, in the way that it ebbed and flowed. There was no clear dominant controller of the football or of possession across the 45. It seemed to sort of happen in waves for both sides.
Which, as a neutral, you can be very happy about because you don't know what you're going to see in the second half. And that's exactly what you want out of a football match. For the two managers, I think a little more concerning the lack of consistency that either showed in terms of their output, but perhaps that reflects why they are where they are on the table, where it's sort of looking nervously down rather than looking aspirationally up. But it's not without saying they haven't shown glimpses of quality. I mean, look at that from Sammy Griffiths, just holding up two defenders. It's a really nice bit of hold-up play, but those incidents have been isolated. Haven't seen either of these teams really put it together over an extended period over that first half.
Try as he might, Perez not quite able to make the long launch work in his favour. The respective coaches' boxes will be fascinating places to keep your eye on when they flash into view in the bottom half of your picture across this second 45, not least for substitute activity, but also the differing demeanours of these respective coaches, who both sides, owing to their youthfulness, have had certainly moments to make their coaches slightly uncomfortable. It's also worth looking at the sideline drip of Goran Luboyer in the SD Raiders bench as well. A nice bit of tech fleece, North Face khaki jacket. Very, very fancy number.
Always one of the best in the competition, guys. And you wouldn't have picked it when he was a player. Lockie, one of the most no-nonsense bruisers across the competition.
Driscoll looks that one across to Ono. It's an almighty up and under from the Japanese. Yeah. Douglas John. Flick inside is nipped in the bud by Knezovic. Now Marcic not able to find forward passage.
Just looked a little disjointed in that final third at different times, Melly. We mentioned it in the first half, but Griffiths, when he has got on the ball, has looked promising. He's managed to break the line of the SD Raiders defence a couple of times, just not consistent enough with it, really, Lockie.
Feels like the service has been a bit of a tricky factor for him, as the young striker is upended that time around.
And I have to say, not much the referee can do there, but the linesman is looking right at that piece of contact. And Lockie McGrath only had one target. That was the back of Sam Griffiths.
There's another one for the youngster to chase, shoulder to shoulder. Ooh, and a bit testy there between Sam Griffiths and his marker.
What you'd expect. That was a fair challenge. It was the one before that sort of led to all of that. Got to be careful because this game has just sort of simmered along nicely for the four officials, but don't want things getting out of hand with decisions like that not being made.
Well won by Perez. Griffiths will have to give chase again, but it's comfortably dealt with by James Letter. Striker position, both the servicing and the finishing of it, has been a recurring problem position for Manly over recent years. A bit of a quiz for you in a second, Mulch, when we get around to it.
This will expose me.
Talk about the difficulty of Manly finding consistent goal scorers to lead the line. In the last 4 years, so back to 2022, Manly have only had 2 players hit double digits in a season of NPL New South Wales football. Can you name the 2?
Bruno Mendes, and I'm inclined to say Sayer, but I don't think he actually scored that many.
It's a more recent season than that, and not a striker.
Hit double figures. I'll have a think.
Having a solid season in a new club this year?
Would it be Presley Ortiz?
No.
I wouldn't have done it all in one season.
No.
Here. It wouldn't have done it all for the one club there either.
Farah Coco.
I did hit double figures last year.
Hit the 10 at the tail end of last season.
Fairly good goal he scored on Wednesday night as well.
Yes, very much so. He hasn't lost that scoring touch in the new colours, but illustrative of the fact that that line leader has been a bit of a tricky place, finding a consistent scorer, even under Patrick Svansweig in previous seasons, has been a bit fraught. Sam Griffiths is their top scorer this season, joint with a number of players who are on 4. It's a towering tally. Here's the set piece for SD, watched all the way by Mackenzie Siron. To release Griffiths. Well judged by James Letter. The wisdom of the captain. Coming to the fore for the visitors. Captain who will be leading his side into the lofty heights of Australia Cup action shortly. Figuera swiftly off the line and corkscrewing that one away from danger. Their first taste of Australia Cup football, SD, but their first away trip after a little snack offering against MacArthur last year. They're off to Rochdale in Queensland in a couple of weeks' time.
So well earned and very exciting for the club. And a really winnable tie for them as well. Rochdale had only recently promoted themselves up in Queensland, and I think Goran Laboya will go up there thinking that his team maybe even edge it as favourites. Travel's difficult, but it's exciting as well. It'll be a bonding experience for these players who we know are so talented.
Especially for some of these players who have come through the ranks of League One and been on the journey with this club, to realise something like that. A very special memory indeed. And these NPL New South Wales v Queensland battles have historically tended to be quite interesting and competitive fare. It's all eyes on league football now, though, for Goran Laboya. He would not want to let the sting of midweek defeat linger. They played themselves into trouble here, though. De Robillard shifts it wide. Darcy Burgess. Drinking one way and the other. Manages a full spin. It's lifted into the middle for Evans, who really ought to have scored the opener.
Well, it was just that defensive intervention that made it difficult enough. Really brave piece of defending. I think it was McHugh Shaw closing in at the back post. But a really nicely crafted move from Manly. The stuff we haven't seen enough of tonight. Playing through midfield, shifting the ball from one side to the other. And the delivery is almost as close as you get without being right on the money.
big scare survived for the SD Raiders defence. Kai Evans has looked most likely for Manly. There will be a queue of interested customers amassing ahead of this incoming free kick, which is in a position of reasonable enterprise for those of a Manly persuasion.
Well, that's twice in a minute or so that SD Raiders have played themselves into a heap of trouble. This time it's Knazovic trying to lay the ball back for Lockie McGrath and just left him in an impossible position. Manly a chance to get on the scoreboard off the back of a couple of errors from their opponents.
An interested two-man committee. Kero Ono and Darcy Burgess, who we've seen bring out the best from a dead ball before this season against Apia at this venue at the opposite end of the ground. Will it be him to test Michael Figuera? It is Darcy Burgess, and he did test Figuera. And the SD Raiders keeper was up to the challenge.
It's one of those he doesn't want any credit for. He can take it now the decision's been made, but just a feather touch over the top. Did well to actually bend that. That wall was very close. It was a close 10 metres. Or close 10 yards, I should say.
Shot still alive for Manly United. Figuera worked onto the ball. It's a mad scramble. And SD Raiders do enough to get it away from danger. De Robillard was lurking. SD Raiders come up with the football, but only for a moment. And they've won it back. Knezovic lifted behind. Skips around the challenger, Perez. And the free kick is forthcoming, as is a yellow card for Jesse Perez.
Well, I think the right decision given where that was on the pitch and how that attack was unfolding. Although the touch had taken Knezovic backwards, but I think Perez is also right in saying Manly might have had one down the other end. Let's hope Luka Knezovic has come down here. What a goal line scramble that was, Lockie. There were a couple of Raiders players almost prone on the turf and nearly failed to sort themselves out in the nick of time to actually clear the ball.
Well, what was fascinating about it is that the ball nearly trickled into the net. And at least it looks on first replay. Of course, you can go scrub back and watch it yourself at home. To have been fashioned without a Manly player touching the ball from the corner. It would have been quite the comedy caper of a goal. I can't help but think back to the point that you made earlier about Michael Figuera commanding his penalty area. There's Mako. Can't find clean passage. McHugh sure can. It was a great ball first time. Fernandez. SD Raiders need a lifter. He's the kind of player they'll look to. Rag. As it's rid from his grasp. Douglas John. Handles the pressure of the on-rushing Malbasha well. SD will have the chance to try and lock Manly deep into their own defensive territory.
And a really good response after those couple of errs to make their way up the other end and start to threaten themselves. Talk about this pattern of this game. You have one of those momentum trackers we've been seeing over the course of the World Cup, Lockie. It would look like you're going up Mount Everest and then going into the deepest sea trench you can think of.
Well, dare I say, it would be one of the only innovations from the current World Cup that I'd bring into NPL football. Although, a 48-team NPL, now that is a concept. That is a concept. Fernandez. Hasn't been his game so far. It's Blacktown man. There is still time for that to change. Perez. The dancing feet of the Manly fullback are easy on the eye indeed. Evans from Saxon Hillier. For Robillard. Ono found in a nice little pocket. And tries he might. Couldn't find an angle. De Robillard kept it in, but little more. All the pretty passing has amounted to very little for Manly. That's a good scrap, though. Evans. Griffiths. Nice knockdown. Darcy Burgess. Remains end to end. McGrath. Knezovic. Lucas Neal stand. Wanted the ball signalled out of play. It was not. It is not. And it's ended up as a Manly possession in any case. John at the line for Griffiths. That tangle has resumed itself, and Griffiths is the one who's won out. Only to be denied by the lightning reflexes of Robbie Aramugo.
Vlado Knezovic is making a point to the referee again that Griffiths not given the free kick that Manly want him to get there. It releases the pressure valve. Instead, they're trying to see off another SD Raiders attack down their defensive end.
Marcic was looking to go on a one-man mission. And it ended in failure. That is a lovely little touch inside, but well marshalled by Knezovic to thwart the threat of Stefan de Robillard. Hillier. De Robillard looking to link up with Saxon Hillier. Clawed out at the ball then.
There's acts of desperation and then
try time, Manly.
Drove past Brookville Oval to get here tonight. Might have been better suited there from Sachs. You never doubt his determination, just a little overzealous. I'll tell you what, I think it's actually the offside flag that's gone up after all of that.
Sure, there's some four pines at the far post somewhere.
Are they paying you for that?
I might be paying them later, we'll see. Great scrap from Evans, who's really acquitted himself well so far this evening. A booming switch. De Robillard plucking it nicely. And still he goes, Stefan de Robillard, but the cross doesn't have its desired direction.
Just been missing that final ball from both teams, haven't we? It's been getting themselves into really positive areas with some really nice build-up. It's been swift and well thought out, structured at different times. Just haven't had that sort of ball coming off.
Almost a little bit uncomfortable there between Mackenzie Seron and the Irishman Aaron O'Driscoll. If you didn't have the score bug up on your screen, you wouldn't necessarily assume instantly that this is a game that does not have a goal. There we go, it does not have a winner as things stand. And neither side will want that at the full-time whistle. Manly fans have been frustratingly familiar friends in recent seasons with the goose egg scoreline. We got an update from Sutherland Sharks, the Shire, Mulchi?
We do, as my stream freezes, which doesn't help our cause lot. I'll be with you in a sec.
Stay with the action for now. Sutherland, of course, taking on the champions Apia. Got a second laptop, you can go and set that up. Second monitor. There's a lot of ways you can watch NPL football these days.
And they've just gone to half-time, Lockie. It's the Sharks leading by a goal to nil.
Wow.
A goal right in the shadows of half-time.
Big goal indeed for David Perkovic's men. Great cross. Griffiths! There's the opener! And finally, the dam wall does burst for Manly. And it is their young striking gun who takes an outright lead of their individual scoring charts in Sam Griffiths. The fifth of the season for him. And it was very easy on the eye in its conception.
Sam Griffiths.
One to get their fans onto their feet at Cromer.
SD Raiders nil.
And while we have waited and waited and waited for the moment of quality that would bring about the opening goal of this game, Manly United are the team who step up and do it, and in really, really crafty fashion, Mulch.
And Griffiths has deserved that for his work tonight, Lockie. He's been really the battering ram for Manly when they've been trying to get out of their own half hasn't seen too much of the ball in the attacking half, but that really does speak to the future this boy's got. It's a great run. Needing to steer that ball nicely into the back corner of the net, and he did that expertly. Lovely ball played into him as well. I think Manly will feel they've deserved that for their second half performance. They've just been, to me, slightly the team on top. Been getting themselves in those promising positions often enough. Now they get their just rewards.
Goals in back-to-back games as well for Sam Griffiths. He scored the third and final in that draw away to the Wanderers, which looked as though it was going to, at that point, help Manly on their way to 3 points, but they will do well, Manly, to heed the warnings of last week in a game that looked sewn up, and the Wanderers had very, very big things to say and very late things to say about it.
Vlado Knezovic has made that point a couple of times talking to him this season, is how many points they've dropped late in games. And it's been something they've been trying to fix up, but sort of caveat to that is they keep finding themselves in winning positions late on, which perhaps was not what everybody expected at the start of the year. So stuff that's building in a positive manner. Talk about that consistency of performance over 90 minutes. That's got to be the key for them in the final quarter of this game.
Well, they would love to turn this into two. Perez has turned on the afterburners and slipped his way back. Kai Evans across. Darcy Burgess to Robillard. It's a fantastic block. And then from range, firing away was Saxon Hillier. Saw a Manly Academy product get his name on the score sheet and said, you know what, I wouldn't half mind joining him.
I'll tell you what, you saw the attack down the left a little earlier. This time it's Perez getting forward. We haven't seen too much of that from him tonight. We talked about the couple of goals he's picked up in the past few weeks, Lockie. Always been a player that's able to turn provider.
There's nearly another heart-in-mouth moment for the SD Raiders defence. Sam Griffiths has really built himself a very handy breakout season, having had the fleeting tastes of senior football over the last couple of seasons. More appearances this year than his previous 2 years combined, and could be wrong on my numbers here, Mulch, but I make that 5 goals in 10 games.
That's the sort of football that gets you on the radar of underage national teams, which has been the case for Sam over the past few months. Jasper Chipman's been in that conversation down the other end for Manly United, but he's always been highly touted. Griffiths has had to work hard at his craft and really make the step up to senior football, which he's made look pretty natural, all things considered, I think.
Perhaps that stat about only 2 Manly players in the last 4 years hitting double digits is growing under threat. Robillard has plucked that out of the night sky. He probably shouldn't have been able to do that, and in the end, it will matter little to the SD Raiders defence, who are just living life a little bit dangerously at the moment.
We talk about those levels of concentration for Goran Luboja's team. We've seen the best of them at different stages tonight, been able to craft attacking opportunities, probably a couple they should have taken. Those defensive lapses just sneaking in over the last 5 minutes.
An opening to respond, perhaps. Eramugo looking to flip the field for Rag. There's the delivery. Driscoll provides a swift answer. It may be coming back in his direction shortly. McHugh Shaw. Good delivery before, that one was not. What was that from Perez? The technical capacity just escaping a couple of players out there at the crucial moments.
Just a couple of little things sneaking in, Lock.
That opening goal for Sam Griffiths is going to force Scott and Luboja into the first changes of the night, and as he did in midweek against Sydney FC, he makes a raft of them at once. Thomas Santarossa, Don Cox, Barlow, and Justin Chanfrias the trio who make their way onto the field. Shane Frias having recently returned to SD Raiders in the mid-season window. It's Riley Cox-Barlow. The others who have come in. And they're coming straight into a game in which Manly are looking to double their money. Burgess. Darting left and right. Can he fashion a ball into the middle? He can. It's into the roof of the net. Some way short of the quality of delivery of which Darcy Burgess is capable and of which Manly players are capable, as we have seen in the game's opening goal. Do need to give Stefan de Robillard his flowers. It was his assist, and it really was a fantastic one.
Indeed. The player has been full of confidence. Now we need to see if the Raiders players and the ones who've come onto the field now can make the difference, can give them that little bit of cutting edge that's been missing.
It was the substitutes that of the respective sides that made the difference against Sydney. Gordon Lubia made a triple change around a similar time frame in this game, at which point Sydney FC brought on Zach Fowler and Junior Conde, the two who ultimately combined for the game's opening and only goal. Knezovic steers it into the box. Chan Frias loses out to his teammate Marty Fernandez, who got there first. He heaves it. Eramugo gets up, and it won't drop for Jet McHugh-Shaw. Interesting to see what Justin Chan Frias can offer for SD Raiders. Had plenty of zip in his cameo off the bench on Tuesday night at Ernie Smith. Cox-Barlow, a player who was one of the three to score for SD Raiders when these sides met back in round 7. Douglas John. To have come off the hand of Santa Rosa, and indeed the referee ultimately picks up what was put down.
Playing ball boy for himself there too. Like, was a little bit worried he might find his own booking or into the referee's notebook, just hoisting the ball away. Griffiths just taken off the ball there too. He and Letter have not left each other alone all evening.
To put in a power of work, leaving the line. The goal, as you said, Mock, certainly was reward for efforts. 20 minutes left. This was a pain point for SD on Tuesday. And the game was up for grabs. Even with their substitutes, Raiders just could not find the gears to match what Sydney FC were able to unleash through their bench. Ramugo goes to ground. No whistle arrives, to the slight chagrin of SD players. Griffiths, and the goal scorer turn provider, or can he go alone? Drops it down for Darcy Burgess, who, the classic cliche, leaning back as he struck the ball, and it was only going one way, and that was up.
It's a chance he'd really like to take for Manly United. They've had all the momentum really since the goal. Just want to give yourselves a measure of stability and establish your position in the game with so little time left to go. This one Darcy Burgess would love back, at least to test Michael Figuera there.
McHugh-Shaw. Time starting to become of the essence for SD. There's only one goal. That's a beautiful drop of the shoulder from Kai Evans. And so is that. Really quality. Burgess. They're building here again, Manly. De Robillard's shots stopped in its tracks. John. Saxon Hillier. Shifts onto the right. Moves his body really nicely. Evans. And the header. Inconsequential in the end. Raised against Sam Griffiths.
Really nicely crafted by Manly again. They've got their roll on at home, which we've seen them do a lot of times down the years, where they get out of the blocks slowly but then manage to find their rhythm midway through a game. And now Vlado Knezovic is yet to make a substitution, and I think the way things are going, he might be reticent to, because his team are performing the best they have all night with 15 minutes left to play.
Curiously, the first half was one in which the two teams traded the role of protagonists of the fixture back and forth. Manly have had this second half more their own way. Marty Fernandez was hoping to change that, and Evans has flown in with some exuberance and upended Thomas Santarossa in the process. This may just provide a window of opportunity for Goran Luboya's side.
There's a lot of protest from the Manly players there, because they're all looking at Evans' front leg, but his trailing one completely took out Santarossa. There can be no complaints about the free kick being awarded. Perhaps a little taste of their own medicine now. They've got some defending to do. They've fired in a couple of balls from this sort of dangerous area. And they need this quality of delivery. Knezovic hasn't had his best night. They need to stand up here and put this into an area that's difficult for Ciron and his defence to deal with.
Spaniola's off-sighted the former Wanderer. Knezovic goes for it.
That's a real waste, Lockie. Considering the time in the game, the location of that, Cyril won't be as happy with that piece of distribution either, but Knezovic, who is capable of so much better, disappointing.
Especially when you consider it's felt like at points this season, Mulch, that when SD Raiders are playing their best football, they are playing a lot of it through Luka Knezovic.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And, you know, this is a youngster who's finding his feet in first grade. I want to say that. He's not a young player anymore, Luka Knezovic. He's been around. But this is his first time shouldering that burden of responsibility. And that might suggest why some of their performances are inconsistent. You see a beautifully weighted passer like that. He's got all the ability.
Rag in Fernandez. Oh. He caught that one at the wrong side of the post from a Raiders persuasion.
And just as we say that, he almost unpicks the defence with a gorgeous switch. And Fernandez, I mean, wouldn't he like one of the 3 or 4 he's had tonight back to just take his time with a little bit? Yeah, that was probably one of the tougher ones. Sort of a half opportunity. Came to him at an awkward height, but he did well to steer it towards goal. A couple in that first half where he missed the target and really will feel he should have done better.
This is nicely constructed from Manly. Burgess was looking to utilise the swiftness of Stefan de Robillard. That's a thumping challenge, and in turn, Marty Fernandez returns serve. He's more violent and less legal than the previous, and as a result, it is Fernandez who joins Jesse Perez in the book.
It's funny, this has sort of been bubbling under the surface. Both teams have sort of been going about their business, but now the urgency of the situation has brought out some more desperation. It's brought out some better football at different times as well. In the second half, until the goal, hadn't really delivered in the same way the first had, but yeah, we're set up for a really good finish now. SD Raiders have come back into the contest. Those changes have worked in the most part for Goran Luboya. We're getting another change now for Manly. It looks like it'll be the end of the night for Sam Griffiths.
When he does turn around to see his number raised, it's a very short-lived blasting of the digital board from the fourth official.
Substitution for Manly United.
He's going to depart for what is going to be
coming off the goal scorer,
a very well-earned rest and a very well-earned round of applause here at Cromer Park. A player who has worked his socks off tonight. And Ben Coop has become a regular substitute this season. Some pretty big shoes to fill at the head of this Manly attacking spear.
This is exactly where Ben Coop wants to come on, though. Lockie's where he can get at a team that's coming out and throwing more numbers forward, lets him use his pace in behind. He's got a better hold-up play in him than people give him credit for as well.
Can be a very fun player to watch when games do start to stretch. Been waiting a while for a goal in NPL New South Wales, not since April, but for goals here at Cromer Park, quite a while indeed, not since his brace, as that is drifted over the top wonderfully for Eramugo. And Siron comes up with the stop to match, but in truth it was probably put a little bit too close to the keeper from Robbie Eramugo. Just something to ponder for Manly's defence that is looking to keep an 8th clean sheets of this NPL New South Wales season.
He won't get too many better chances tonight than that. Robbie Eramugo has been waiting for that moment. Griffiths takes it for Manly down the other end. Not able to really force Mitch Seaman in, or I should say Mackenzie Siron into serious work there. Slip of the tongue.
Substitution for Manly United. Coming onto the field, number 12, Mitch Seaman. Coming off, number 10, Darcy Burgess.
Slip of the tongue from Alex Molchanoff. Premonition, because there is the other MS for Manly, Mitch Seaman coming on.
Number 22, Jonathan Sabatu. Coming off.
Double
number 5, Jet McHugh Shaw.
Substitution for SD Raiders. That chance, the last of the evening for Robbie Eramugo. He departs alongside Jet McHugh Shaw. Jonathan Sabatu
Matthew Lee
makes his return alongside Matthew Lee. Sabatu back for the first time since the 21st of June against Sydney United, so he's missed a couple of games, has the SD stalwart. Second goal you feel would seal a good 3 points for Manly. We've got 2 balls on the field at the present moment. Multi-ball at Cromer Park. He can't score with that one, Saxon. Oh, that's nearly very costly for SD. They manage by the skin of their teeth to play through the press. Fernandez needs options and runners. Finds one in Santa Rosa. Jan Frias is perhaps guilty of being a little bit too cute, and quite the opposite in his efforts to try and win the ball back.
Hasn't he just gone about his work, Douglas Sean, tonight? Been understated, but very tight in his play, screening in front of his defence when it's needed. Doesn't offer that physical size yet, but he reads the game so well for a young player, and his technical quality with the ball is really, really impressive.
An awkward one for Michael Figueroa with Ben Coop lurking. It's a testament, Mulch, to the quality of the youngsters that they produce, Manly, that so infrequently when they do make the step up do they look overawed. Is Douglas John the latest in a number of players who come in and just happen to do their jobs with quite a minimum of fuss.
It's not quite plug and play, but it's the fact that the system runs all the way down the juniors, the 20s. You watch them play a very similar style of football. They want to be in control of the ball, but when they're playing their best, they're actually moving it forward quickly through the lines. They've got pace to hurt teams in behind. It's not too much difference between what the 20s are doing, and it's a very successful 20s team as well. Won the premiership last season, and what's happening in first grade. Obviously a step up playing against men, but it means that those players, as you rightly say, Locke, very rarely look overawed or out of place.
Have to get into defensive place upcoming. Luka Knezovic is going to set piece, and he'll be looking to bring a little bit better out of himself than the previous free kick, if indeed he is going to be the player tasked with taking it. Six minutes left for SD is to go searching for an equaliser. Stoppage time will come as well. Will a goal for them? That's the question. It's wicked from Knezovic, but shallow. And the break could be on for Manly. Jan Frias stumbling back quickly. It's lifted over the top for the run of Seaman. The substitute has come off the bench, gone down. A big wave of the arms from the referee. And Jan Frias clears just to quell the growing angst.
That was the threat that Manly offer in behind against a team that has thrown those numbers forward. We've talked about it, Lockie. And at the moment, it's they are looking more likely to get their second than SD Raiders to get the equaliser. This game's thrown up plenty of surprises, including, I think, a foul throw.
You do not buy a lottery ticket. You don't see them every day.
Gets Kikeru Ono as well, who has come to Manly as a forward player, has slotted in at wing back. I'm not sure how many throw-ins he's taken over his career.
No.
Getting a bizarre ending to this one. It's just little things thrown in that you weren't expecting to see tonight.
Enough drama to hopefully, if you're watching it at home, take away from the sting of the early morning's World Cup action for Australia. Unless, of course, you're watching on from Egypt, in which case, begrudging congratulations to you.
That's a really cheap foul. One you can't afford to give away when you're chasing the game. Ben Coop's going into a corner. He's got no support. They just give him license to go over by falling through his back.
This is a frustratingly familiar feeling for SD Raiders supporters who are waiting for their side to lift for a late finish, as they were when they trailed on Tuesday. Just as yet, are not able to lift themselves to the level required to really look like a team who could take a point. Coop. Just to glide his way around a few, but afforded the football straight back to the visitors. Knezovic. Was elegant in his movements. Sabatu not the same with his pass. Full stretch. Douglas John trying to get the ball out of danger, and Justin Chanfrias was collateral in that process.
Friendly fire there, wasn't it? Douglas John almost became the meat in the sandwich. This is stuff we like. This will be the first time, I think, all season SD Raiders have been kept scoreless in back-to-back games. If we do get the final couple of minutes.
If the outside of the sandwich is green mulch, that's usually not a good sign. You shouldn't eat one of those.
A good point. I hope the inside isn't blue either.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. That was nearly a clever little ball for Coop. Douglas John. Hearty up and under, which Rag is only too happy to watch over the line. SD Raiders have still got time for one last push.
Substitution for Manly
They are
United.
leaving their
Coming
assaults
onto
on
the
an
field,
equaliser very late.
Replacing number 19, Kai Evans.
Another one of the young Manly Tykes making their way onto the field. Will Folder introduced for a player who, for mine, without having his name on the history books when this one gets recorded, Mulch, with a goal and an assist, has really impressed in Kai Evans.
Yeah, he's done that most times he's got the opportunity. It hasn't been an every week starter for Vlado Knezovic, but he's been able to call on him and trust him when needed.
Fernandez was looking to go on a one-man mission, and was denied in his efforts to do so. Don't know whether, he was leading the charge with the responsibility seemingly on his shoulders, Marty Fernandez, but I don't know if that's what he wanted. I think he may well have preferred to have a few more willing recipients of the football in a phase like that.
They have lost a bit of that since Malbassa's gone off. Some fleet-footed players up there. It was right on the line there for Mackenzie Siron. But they have lost that real target and point to base themselves off. Marty loves playing those little 1-2s with a a player who can hold off defences and give him a little bit more space. He hasn't really had that opportunity since Goran Luboya has made the changes.
Frias earns his side a free kick. The Raiders under threat of, as Molchanov said, going scoreless in back-to-back games for the first time this year. Manly are closing in on 4 games unbeaten for the first time this season. Their best run of form, one that felt a long way away. And they started the season with 1 win from 7. As we step into 5 minutes of stoppage time, it is time enough for Manly to seal or for SD to salvage. If they got one here, it would probably feel close to the 3 points they came to Cromer for in the first place. Frias popping it back to Letta. Captain trying to get the enthusiasm from his options further afield. Sabatu. Santa Rosa. Only blue shirts in the box to attack his delivery. Now it drops. Cox Barlow. Chan Frias. Left-footed effort. Siron able to just steer it into the turf. And will take as much time as he is afforded.
Why not? They've earned this now. This is what they've done best this season. When they have taken a lead, been very, very difficult to hunt down, particularly at home.
Sense of time slipping away from SD Raiders. Fernandez. No avenue to feed a teammate materialised. That was a little cheeky from Ben Coop. Micro gamesmanship.
Oh, he almost gave Vlado Knezovic a hug on the way past as well. Thanks for bringing me on, boss.
Oh, that's not Figueroa's best. It's played inside and cut out by Sabatu. Big switch of play. Headed infield for Rag. Looked to have been caught, but the referee judging differently to the opinions of the SD Raiders bench. And Coop couldn't confound James Letta. SD Raiders need to get the ball forward fast. Chan Frias. Matthew Lee. Not going to find it with passes like that. That's a bit better though. Cox Barlow with a stab. Oh, it's uncomfortable from O'Driscoll, and Perez with a player lurking with intent on his shoulder heads out for a corner.
That was a brave piece of defending. It's one of those so awkward as a defender at your back post. You don't know who's in front, who's behind. You're just looking up at the ball, hoping you make good contact. Jesse Perez did. Made sure he got up nice and early. Despite the pressure, he's able to nod it behind. Job's not done yet, though.
Fernandez has not been able to find that telling touch despite pockets of promise this evening. Can he be the man to flip the script for Goran Luboya's side? Fernandez's delivery. Knezovic and Chan Frias are both there. They can't sort their lines. Driscoll lumps it away. Final minute of stoppage time. Knezovic has sounded off at one of his teammates. It's not happening for SD at the moment, and it won't be happening with defensive free kicks for Manly that allow them to chew away valuable extra seconds in their hunt for 3 points.
Been a couple of balls in this last couple of minutes that are exactly what you want as a team defending a lead. Long hit and hopes. And I know there's an air of desperation. 5 minutes at a time. Feel as though Raiders just panicked a little bit. And looking to Knezovic, I think was sounding off at Martin Fernandez, but he was in space at the edge of the box.
rather than firing that ball in, it might have been the better option.
And the United are nearly there. The Raiders will need to bring this head tennis to an end swiftly, and they do. It's a great firing ball forward with Enterprise for Cox Barlow, but he just runs out of real estate as he managed to get on the burst. It has been that sort of an evening for the boys from Ernie Smith this evening.
It's a good result for Manly. Lockie moves them pretty comfortably clear of that little relegation battle for now. Those down the bottom have had some big signings. That's a big 3 points.
It is a big 3 points indeed for the home side. A 5th win of the season at Cromer that is as sweet as any. And as has been the case in many a game this season, many a game across the season, spearheaded by a young talent. Sam Griffith's second half header makes the difference and steers Vlado Knezovic's men and boys to a 4th unbeaten game in a row. Their best run of form this season. It is back-to-back 1-0 defeats for Goran Luboja's side. They go goalless in consecutive games for the first time since arriving in the top flight. Plenty of work for SD Raiders head coach to do ahead of Australia Cup action and NPL action next week when they take on Blacktown City. But it is Manly who will end their Saturday night happy with 3 points in the bag, 4 games unbeaten, and set up very nicely for the visit of the Sutherland Sharks next weekend. We hope you enjoyed the action. Wherever you've been tuning in from myself, Lockie Flanagan, from the main man at Cromer Park, Alex Molchanoff, and from Sportscast Australia, we are going to bid you farewell from Cromer Park. The full-time score: Manly United 1, SD Raiders 0.
They still punch it into my camera, so I'd be impressed. They would have created its own problem. Oh, and my stuff. Yes.